Right now, the universe is growing so fast that every second, the space between distant galaxies stretches by thousands of miles. But here's what breaks our brains. It's not expanding into anything. No cosmic warehouse, no outer boundary, no bigger container waiting to be filled. We're about to journey through the most mind-bending concept in all of science. Explore how space creates itself from nothing. Witness the invisible force tearing reality apart, and discover why asking what the universe expands into is like asking what's north of the North Pole. Please like and subscribe for this cosmic journey. Prepare yourselves. We begin. Picture a balloon expanding in your living room. As you blow air into it, the rubber stretches outward, pushing against the air around it. The balloon grows bigger because there's space for it to grow into. Your living room provides that space. This makes perfect sense to us. This is how expansion works in our daily experience. But the universe laughs at this logic. When cosmologists tell you the universe is expanding, your brain immediately pictures that balloon. You imagine space stretching outward into something, some cosmic room, some vast emptiness waiting to be filled. You think there must be a boundary where our universe ends and something else begins. This thinking feels natural. It feels obvious. Here's where physics breaks your comfortable assumptions. The universe isn't like that balloon at all. When space expands, it doesn't push into anything. There is no cosmic living room. There is no container. There is no outside. The universe creates the very concept of space as it grows. Think of it like this. Imagine trying to draw a circle that's bigger than your piece of paper. But instead of getting a bigger piece of paper, the paper itself grows to accommodate your circle. This sounds impossible because in our world, everything expands into something else. Plants grow into air. Cities expand into countryside. Ice spreads across water. Always. There's a place for the expansion to go. Always. There's a boundary between what's expanding and what it's expanding into. But what if you were the paper and the drawing at the same time? Scientists discovered this mind-bending truth by watching distant galaxies. Edwin Hubble noticed that galaxies farther away from us are racing away faster than nearby ones. At first, this seems to suggest we're at the center of some cosmic explosion, like we're sitting in the middle while everything else flies outward into empty space. The reality is far stranger. Space itself is stretching. The galaxies aren't moving through space. The space between them is growing. Imagine dots on a deflating balloon, but in reverse. As the balloon inflates, the dots get farther apart without moving on the surface. The surface itself expands. Each dot sees every other dot moving away. No dot is special. No dot is at the center. Now replace that balloon surface with the 3 dimensions of space you live in. The universe isn't expanding into anything because there is no anything for it to expand into. It's creating the very stage upon which expansion can happen. This breaks our intuition, so completely that even brilliant scientists struggled with it for decades. Albert Einstein himself initially rejected this idea. Yet this impossible expansion is happening right now faster than you can imagine. But how can we be sure this bizarre process is real? The answer lies in watching light itself get tortured by expanding space. When a distant galaxy fires a beam of light toward Earth, that light begins its journey with a specific wavelength: blue light, red light, infrared. Each wavelength carries a signature like a cosmic fingerprint. But as the light travels through expanding space, something extraordinary happens. The space the light moves through grows larger during its journey. Imagine you're walking across a moving walkway that's slowly stretching as you walk. Your steps stay the same size, but the ground beneath you keeps growing longer. By the time you reach the end, you've traveled much farther than your steps should have taken you. Light experiences something similar, but instead of traveling farther, its wavelength gets stretched. Blue light from a distant galaxy arrives at our telescopes as red light. Not because the galaxy moved away like a speeding ambulance changing its siren pitch. The light gets redder because space itself expanded during the light's billion-year journey. Each wave of light gets pulled longer as the cosmic fabric grows beneath it. This process, called cosmological redshift, proves that space grows independent of the objects within it. Here's the number that will rewire your brain. Light from the most distant observable galaxies has been stretched to nearly 40 times its original wavelength. The space that light traveled through expanded so much that what started as intense ultraviolet radiation now reaches us as faint infrared heat. 40 times longer wavelengths mean the universe expanded by a factor of 40 during that light's journey. Think about this. The galaxy that sent you this ancient light looks tiny and faint in our most powerful telescopes. But when that light first left the galaxy, the universe was 40 times smaller than it is today. That galaxy was much closer to where our Milky Way would eventually form. Space didn't just grow a little bit. It underwent massive, relentless expansion. But here's what makes this even more mind-bending. This stretching isn't happening somewhere else. It's happening everywhere. Right now, the space in this room is trying to expand. The space between your eyes and this screen wants to grow larger. The only reason you don't notice this expansion is that electromagnetic forces between atoms are far stronger than the expansion rate. Only across vast cosmic distances does this expansion become noticeable. The space between galaxies has no atomic forces to hold it together. So, it expands freely, carrying those galaxies along like raisins in rising bread dough. The raisins don't move through the dough. The dough expands and carries them apart. This is why the question, what is the universe expanding into, breaks down so completely. You're asking what the dough is expanding into, but you are part of the dough. However, if space is stretching everywhere, how far can we actually see? We live inside the ultimate cosmic prison, and the walls are made of time itself. Every night you step outside and look up at stars. You feel like you're seeing the universe, the whole thing, all of reality stretched out above you in that dark sky. But here's the truth that will reshape how you think about existence. You're seeing less than 4% of what's actually out there. You're trapped inside an invisible sphere. This sphere has a radius of about 46 billion light-year. Beyond this boundary lies more universe, billions more galaxies, trillions more stars, perhaps even other versions of you reading these words. But you will never see any of it. Not with any telescope humanity could ever build. Not with any technology that could ever exist. The trap isn't made of walls or barriers. It's made of the finite speed of light combined with the finite age of the universe. Light takes time to travel. When you look at the sun, you see it as it was 8 minutes ago. When you look at the nearest star system, Alpha Centauri, you see it as it was 4 years ago. Look at the Andromeda galaxy and you're seeing 2.5 million years into the past. The farther you look into space, the deeper you peer into history. Here's where the trap closes around you. The universe is 13.8 billion years old. This means the oldest light that could possibly reach you has been traveling for 13.8 billion years. Any galaxy farther than 13.8 billion light-years away might as well not exist from your perspective. Its light simply hasn't had enough time to reach you yet. But wait, the trap gets even more confining. Remember that space has been expanding this entire time. That distant galaxy was much closer to us when it emitted the light we see today. By the time its ancient light reaches our telescopes, expansion has carried that galaxy far beyond the 13.8 billion light-year mark. Today, that galaxy sits about 46 billion light-year away from us. This creates your cosmic prison cell. Everything beyond 46 billion light-years from Earth exists in what scientists call the unobservable universe. You cannot see it. You cannot detect it. You cannot prove it exists. Yet, logic and mathematics tell us it must be there. Think of yourself standing in a dense fog that limits your vision to 100 yards in any direction. You can see a circle of ground you, but you know the world continues beyond that fog. The observable universe is your fog-limited circle, while the actual universe stretches infinitely in all directions. Here's the number that should terrify and amaze you. If the universe is infinite, then your observable bubble contains 0% of what actually exists. 0%. But what lies beyond our cosmic prison walls? The most ancient light in the universe is screaming toward you right now at 600 million of. And it carries a message from the moment reality began. This light has been traveling longer than Earth has existed, longer than our solar system formed, longer than our galaxy took its current shape. This light began its journey when the universe was only 380,000 years old. Back when the cosmos was a sting of plasma, so hot that atoms couldn't even form. We call this ancient radiation the cosmic microwave background, and it's everywhere. Turn on an old television between channels, and about 1% of that static comes from this primordial light. You're literally seeing the afterglow of creation flickering across your screen. This radiation fills every cubic inch of space. It comes from every direction at once. It's the oldest thing human eyes can detect. But here's what makes this discovery so profound. This light represents the edge of everything we can observe. Before that moment, 380,000 years after the Big Bang, the universe was opaque. Imagine trying to see through the surface of the sun. The early universe was like that everywhere. A thick fog of plasma that blocked all light. No photon could travel more than a few inches before colliding with charged particles and getting absorbed. Then something miraculous happened. The expanding universe cooled enough for protons and electrons to combine into the first hydrogen atoms. Suddenly, the cosmic fog lifted. The universe became transparent. Light could finally travel freely across space. The first photons that escaped this cosmic clearing are the ones reaching your eyes today as the microwave background. This moment, called recombination, created the ultimate horizon. You cannot see past it ever. Any events that happened in those first 380,000 years remain forever hidden. It's like trying to see through a brick wall that surrounds the entire early universe. The cosmic microwave background is that wall, and it represents the absolute limit of observation. Here's the mind-bending part. This horizon moves every second that passes. Light that has been traveling for 13.8 billion years plus 1 second reaches us. The observable universe grows by 1 light second every second. That's about 186,000 meters of new space coming into view. Every day, we can see about 16 billion miles farther into the cosmos. But expansion complicates this growth. While our observable horizon expands, the actual distance to the source of that ancient light keeps increasing due to cosmic expansion. The galaxy that emitted a photon 13 billion years ago now sits about 30 billion light-year away from us. We see where it was, not where it is. This creates a strange situation. We're constantly seeing new regions of space, but the sources of that light are constantly moving farther away from us. It's like watching a movie of someone walking away from you while the screen gets bigger. The cosmic microwave background shows us the universe when it was smoother than a perfectly polished mirror with only tiny temperature variations of a few millionths of a degree. Those microscopic temperature differences would eventually become everything. But what happens when we push beyond even this ancient horizon? Past the edge of everything you can see lies more of exactly what you can see. This sounds boring, but it's actually the most unsettling possibility in cosmology. If you could somehow teleport 47 billion light-years away beyond your observable boundary, you'd find yourself in a region that looks remarkably similar to here. More galaxies, more stars, more planets, possibly more life. The universe appears to be homogeneous on the largest scales. Homogeneous means uniform, the same everywhere, like a perfectly mixed cake batter where every spoonful contains the same ingredients in the same proportions. Our observations of the cosmic microwave background suggest that the universe has this property. The tiny temperature variations we detect are smooth and consistent across the entire sky. This smoothness tells us something profound about what lies beyond our sight. If the observable universe contains roughly 2 trillion galaxies, Then a region of identical size just beyond our horizon should contain roughly 2 trillion galaxies as well. And another region beyond that should contain another 2 trillion. The pattern continues forever, or at least much farther than we can comprehend. But here's where this gets psychologically disturbing. If space is truly infinite and homogeneous, then every possible arrangement of matter within any given volume must repeat somewhere. This isn't mystical thinking. It's a mathematical necessity. With infinite space and finite ways to arrange a finite number of particles, repetition becomes inevitable. Imagine you have a deck of cards and you shuffle it infinitely many times. Eventually, you must get the same arrangement twice. The universe works similarly, but with atoms instead of cards. This means there are other versions of you reading these words right now. Not metaphorically, literally. In regions of space so distant that their light will never reach us, quantum mechanics has arranged matter in every possible way, including ways identical to your current configuration. There are versions of you where you decided to stop reading this sentence, versions where you were never born, versions where the entire history of Earth play out differently. The math suggests these copies exist at distances of roughly 10 to the power of 10 to the power of 115 meters away. That's a number so large that if you wrote it out, the line of digits would stretch across more space than exists in our observable universe. Yet, if space is infinite, these distances are still finite. Somewhere out there, another you is having this same realization about yet another you, even farther away.